Hey folks, I made this video about 4 months ago. I never published it because at the time, I know, it's very alarming, very concerning. At the time, I was promised by Judge Knight's secretary that the judge would get back to me and we could have that sit down. That never happened. Instead, I did get a phone call from Judge Knight, and he assured me that he would come out, we could sit down, maybe have a look at it. It would all be addressed. That never happened. In saying so, we've had two, and I say we've had two close calls since then, where water did not come across the pastures, but it did fill that creek to capacity. And so something has to be done, folks, because it is hurricane season, and the next big storm is right around the corner. You know, the hill that I live on, I'm pointing over there towards my house now, my entire life it's never been covered with water. Yet in the last 3 years, water has come over that hill 3 times. Folks, my hands are trembling, not because I'm cold, but because I'm way out of my element. I'm not a politician. I'm simply Lester Morrow, the school teacher, a bus driver, a coach for middle school athletes, and I'm a hobby farmer. I've opened my home up to animals who've been rescued from abuse, neglect, and those that have been abandoned. And folks, they need your help. I would like you to notice this big, deep canal that has been dug in this new community, which is the east side of Plum Grove. And this thing goes for miles and miles and miles in that direction. And every little small drainage ditch along the way runs and drains right into it. When we get heavy rains, this canal fills up with water and it comes gushing down and it goes straight towards the San Jacinto River. It's about a mile that way. But here's the problem. Before that water can get there, it hits the old Plum Grove Road bridge. This is the other end of that canal. And this is where all of that rushing water is going to come to a halt. You see, this bridge has been out since Hurricane Harvey. No one's touched it. No one's attempted to come by and repair, replace, fix. No, they've done nothing. And because all of that gushing water that comes out of that neighborhood comes pouring down through here, and at this point, it has nowhere to go. This thing is not being cleaned out. There's no canal. The developer never thought about what might happen to all of that water once it reaches this point. And so what happens is, it goes that way, and it goes this way. And that water begins to cover everything in its path. That water comes gushing down, rushing towards the river, until it gets right over here. And at this point where the bridge is out and all that debris begins to block the flow of water, it impedes the flow of water into where that water has nowhere to go except across the road and all across this piece of property over here. Now the problem with that is there's homes here. This home has been flooded. The church has been flooded. Right up there is the barn to my home. My home and barn have been flooded. This hill, the one I talk about, has been covered with water 3 times in 3 years. My Aunt Joanne, Uncle Raleigh's house, flooded. Folks, it's a simple solution. As of now, no one's even attempted to come over here and start cleaning out the ditches, cleaning out that canal, making it deeper and wider. That's all we're asking. If the developer has the resources to come by here and dig all of the canals that run into his big canal, then why can't that same developer or somebody come over here on this side and continue that process and go all the way down, which is about half a mile, to where that water will fill into the San Jacinto River. That water can bypass all of these homes. But until they fix that, until they address this issue, I'm not asking them to replace the bridge that has been washed out. I'm not asking for that. You know, fix it or not. I understand how costly that can be. Having a road closed is an inconvenience, folks. But having all of the debris and all the water that can't travel down that path is a threat. It's a threat to your livelihood. It's a threat to your home, to your vehicle, to your animals, and even your life. And that has to be addressed. And it's been ignored for 3 years now. And that's the fight we're taking on. We'll be having a meeting with our county judge, who is in charge of the commissioner's courts. And I'm going to express to him some of our flooding concerns.
And as Colony Ridge swallows more land, neighbors in Plum Grove rightfully fear they face extinction. From raw sewage, destruction of their once quiet roads, increased flooding.
They've just pretended like nothing's wrong while Plum Grove is going to hell. I mean, we're just trying to survive.
The population of Plum Grove has been cut in half. Just 400 people left battling a rich developer, and a county government clearly looking the other way for one reason or the other. But the plots thickened as we began to look for the county drainage records. Dolcefino Consulting discovered years of records for Colony Ridge are missing. How convenient.
Judge, are you guys just going to ignore it? What are you doing?
I'm trying to get by.
Really?
What are you doing?
Well, I know what you're doing, my friend. It's an interesting game you're playing.
Greg Arthur was the former sheriff in Liberty County, so investigating missing government records should be easy for him. If he cares, it could even be a crime.
Why haven't we demanded that Colony Ridge produce the records?
Tell me.
What? What'd you say? I'm sorry. You don't know what I'm talking about?
That's weird. The promised investigation into these missing drainage and soil records from Colony Ridge made headlines in Liberty just a few weeks ago. Looks like I've struck a nerve.
At some point, somebody needs to say, let's pause. Let's fix what we have before we make it any bigger. I think that's fair, Judge.
Months ago, I had gone to Liberty County Commissioner's Court to appeal to reason. Aerial video we had obtained from ReduceFlooding.com clearly details the flooding dangers in Colony Ridge, evidence of violations of the county's own ordinance.
Developments like Colony Ridge don't get a free pass. They don't get to cheap it out. They have to follow the rules.
I took a note then of who questioned our warnings.
Anybody can come in here and claim anything, but without some, make accusations, but I have to see no evidence that I need to see something specific.
We now know that Commissioner Arthur had plenty of chances to talk with developer Harris about the assault on Plum Grove. We've got only the phone records he's already given us, and we can tell they chat a bunch.
Now, folks, as long as I've lived here, though, we've always dealt with those occasional downpours. We've always had tropical storms, and we've had hurricanes. But during none of that has that hill been covered with water. Everyone knows, folks, why the water flow has changed course over the last 3 years. And that's the fight that I'm going to have to present to the judge. And I'm doing that on behalf of these babies. Because, folks, it's easy to, as they say, just kind of bite the bullet and just say your prayers and hope that you get past the next one unscathed. And, you know, you guys have been around. You've seen us get through the last 2 floods without losing anybody. We've had to do all kinds of efforts in trying to evacuate our babies and open up our home to let babies come inside and everything else. But we also know that it is just inevitable that at some point the water's going to come up faster and deeper with more of a current, and we're going to be unable to save them all. And that's unfortunate, because this is a problem that I'm going to be talking about with the judge is a man-made problem. Folks, it is this spot right here that has been the cause of the last 3 floods that have covered our property. The flood that killed so many of our babies, the floods that have forced us to evacuate our babies, the floods that have forced us to open up our home and allow our babies out of the pasture and into our home to keep them, give them a couple of extra feet of elevation. It's the flood that had us load babies into the front end loader of the tractor and take them through the high water. And folks, it's not going to get any better. We're going to continue to deal with this until at some point someone has enough guts to stand up and say enough is enough. And why? That for an animal lover, like we all are, for folks who, love these babies, that this is a fight not Democrat, Republican. This is a fight not, to do anything with anything in the national scale. It's small town politics at its worst. I don't think that these folks, these politicians, these local politicians, these local developers understand the power of social media. They don't understand the impact that 1 million Facebook followers can have. They don't understand the impact that 125,000 YouTube followers can have, that another 100,000 Instagram followers can have. Folks, if you love the babies as much as we do, I'm going to ask you to help join this fight. Not with money. We're not asking for your money. I'm asking for all of you and your inner troll. I'm asking for your inner troll to come out, make your phone calls, share these posts, share these stories, let these folks know that they don't know who they're messing with. Come on, littles, let's go. Come on, babies. Come on, babies. Come on, you bunch of littles. Folks, let these people know that we're fighting for these babies. Let these people know that we're fighting for all these survivors. And me and Jamie and Ellie and all of you folks are going to do whatever it takes to keep these babies safe. And we're tired of them passing the buck. We're tired of them pointing fingers back and forth saying, no, you fix it. No, you fix it. No, it's your job. You fix it. We need your help, folks. These babies need your help now more than ever, because the next storm is coming. I'm so very happy to see that other folks are jumping on board, but it's so discouraging to see Judge Knight, this land developer, Trey Harris, commissioners, and all these folks turning and running from the cameras, not wanting to answer questions that taxpayers are demanding. Thank you guys for taking the time to write your letters. Thank you folks for taking the time to make those phone calls. I appreciate you letting Liberty County know that we know, that they know, and that right there, folks, in itself is going to make them be accountable. Isn't it a shame? Seriously, isn't it a shame that it has to be like this? Why can't your elected officials do what they have been elected to do? Instead of, hey, you scratch my back and I'll scratch yours. And that's exactly what's going on here in this good old boy system of politics here in Liberty County. We need your help, folks.